The Knicks have a chance to bring Donte Divincenzo back to the team, and this would be the biggest heist of all time if Leon Rose can pull this off, as NBA insider Stefan Bondy has revealed that Donte Divincenzo could likely play for the Knicks before his contract ends, and this involves Mitchell Robinson and Divincenzo getting back to play with the Nova Knicks, and we're going to break this all down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always, and if you guys like the content, make sure to subscribe. We're at 26% of viewers who are subscribed. Let's get those numbers up. It's the giving season, but let's jump into this because we have something huge to talk about. Leon Rose has been nothing short of phenomenal as the New York Knicks president of basketball operations, but now he has the chance to pull off the biggest heist of all time, bringing Donte Divincenzo back to the New York Knicks, and we're going to break down exactly how he could do that. Now, Andrew Claudio mentioned that essentially he said he feels bad for Donte Divincenzo as he went from being a playoff hero, playing 40-plus minutes per game with his college teammates, to a rough shooting slump and playing in garbage time, down 30 with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have a terrible energy around them, and even Anthony Edwards just saying that nothing's going right for them. The Timberwolves have a terrible vibe ever since losing Karl Anthony Towns, while the New York Knicks are flourishing, and clearly this cannot be easy on Donte Divincenzo, and Claudio mentioned after that he loves the overall sentiment in the replies was bring Donte Divincenzo home, and not, oh, good riddance that he's not having fun or anything like that. And here's where things get interesting. Stefan Bondy saw this, and as the Knicks insider put it, I wouldn't be shocked if Donte returns to the Knicks before his contract is up. He has 3 seasons left, counting this one. Well, that's a nice story to hear. Donte Divincenzo, maybe it wouldn't be too shocking if he ends up back on the New York Knicks before this contract is even over. So not, maybe 3 years down the line when he's a free agent, he'll re-sign with the Knicks, which he likely would if the Nova Knicks are still all there. Nope. Stefan Bondy thinks that they're going to find a way to trade for Donte Divincenzo, and I'll be honest, the more that this happens, the more I could see it becoming a possibility. Leon Rose has been nothing short of phenomenal, and when he sees something he wants, he goes and gets it. We've seen the rumors with McHale go forever. The Knicks got McHale. We saw the rumors with Karl Anthony Towns since Leon took over. They got Karl Anthony Towns. The New York Knicks have done everything they've been expected to do, and now with Donte Divincenzo clearly not having a good time in Minnesota and not playing well, it becomes more and more likely that Divincenzo could get moved off of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'm going to break down exactly how one can do that, but we're going to dive into some other stuff real quick. As Donte Divincenzo said before the Knicks game, as you could kind of see Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart next to him in this photo, I stay in contact with those guys all the time. They're still family. I watch games. It's a different viewpoint. I'm more of a fan of those guys over there. I wish them nothing but success. Not too surprising to hear when he's talking about his friends. Donte Divincenzo has clearly been riding for his guys for a while. And now on a new team, he's struggling mightily. I mean, he's put up 8.5 points per game and is getting over a steal per game, and his defensive numbers look great. But the offensive numbers have just been terrible. I mean, he's putting up 23% on corner threes. Last season, he was shooting around 40% from the corner. 32.5% from three. Last season, he shot 40% from three. 36% from the field. Last season, he shot 40% from the field. He averaged 15.5 points per game, so he's down 7 points. The rebounds and assists have stayed the same, though. But Divincenzo is coming off the bench, and he's not happy with his role, and he's not happy with his team, very clearly. And he'd way rather be on the Knicks. I mean, look, this isn't me saying it. This is looking at the situation. It's the same thing with Mikal Bridges a year ago, where it was, all right, well, he sees all his friends on this team having success and playing for the Knicks, and it's even worse for Divincenzo because he knows what it's like to be a Knick hero, and Knicks fans love Donte, so he definitely wishes he was still there winning basketball games, being on the great Knicks team. I mean, he was on the best Knicks team of the 2000s. Like, since Patrick Ewing, the Knicks have had, since that NBA Finals run in 1999, this has been the best New York Knicks team, last year's, and now this one is probably going to eclipse that. While Donte Divincenzo was such a big part of the one that's about to instantly get eclipsed, while he was hoping and expecting to still be on the Knicks this season. Now, that's not the case, but he could come back. Now, there has been some rumors that Donte Divincenzo could be brought up in trade conversations. Now, As Brett Sigel mentioned, Donte Divincenzo is being viewed as a possible trade candidate for several contending teams around the league. While the Timberwolves value Divincenzo's skills, the 27-year-old combo guard was not thrilled with the idea of coming off the bench after being traded for a second apron team. Like Minnesota, moving Divincenzo could help a little bit of flexibility and a path to moving out of their second apron next season. Right now, there are no indications that the Timberwolves will want to move the newly acquired guard. And look, yeah, it would be tough to move Donte Divincenzo this quick. It feels like they'd just be giving up on a guy who was so good last year way too fast. But it is becoming more and more possible. The Timberwolves have done some strange things to cut money before, like trading Karl-Anthony Towns away to the New York Knicks. Meanwhile, Towns is having one of the best seasons, if not the best season of his NBA career, averaging 25 points and 14 rebounds per game while shooting 46% from three, one of the highest percentages in the NBA. Now, here's the thing. Mark Stein got word of these comments because this happened like a month ago, and he said, I saw all kinds of Twitter chatter Friday about the supposed status of Minnesota's Donte Divincenzo as a trade target for contending teams. That runs counter to everything I've heard about the Wolves, who wanted Divincenzo for more than a year before they actually acquired him, and are said to have zero interest in fielding inquiries for him not yet 3 months fully into his Wolves tenure. Now he's over 3 months into his Wolves tenure. He has not improved at all so far with Timberwolves. That's not to say that he won't. He easily could just find his rhythm and get going. And for Donte's sake, I hope he does. But I'd rather him not for a little bit more so he could get traded to the Knicks. Now, I know what everyone's thinking. Chris, you can't trade him to the Knicks, man. It doesn't work. The CBA. That's incorrect. For everyone who's saying that, that's incorrect. Well, all right, it's kind of correct. You're not wrong. But you're also incorrect because you're not thinking about the loophole. There's a loophole. And the Knicks are great at using loopholes, as they did to get Karl-Anthony Towns. They used a loophole by paying each Dwayne Washington Jr., Daquan Jeffries, and another player whose name I'm forgetting, $1 over the veteran minimum deal so they could be traded to the Charlotte Hornets so the Knicks could acquire Karl-Anthony Towns, because when you're in the second apron, you cannot trade minimum contracts, so they paid him $1 over the minimum. So, genius work by the Knicks. The Knicks are good at finding loopholes. Now here we go, strap in. Look, the first thing the Knicks are going to do is they're going to trade Precious Achiuwa and a second-round pick for Nick Richards. The reason they do that is because they get a big man in Nick Richards who's very good on both sides of the ball. They give the Hornets a second-round pick for their troubles because the Hornets will understand what the Knicks are trying to do here, because the Knicks will explain it to them and then be like, we'll give you a second-rounder because of this. Or they probably won't explain the whole thing, but they're like, hey, we want Nick Richards. He helps with multiple different facets of what we need to do. He also cut some spending for us, so we'll give you a second-round pick for your troubles. The Hornets will say yes to this because they get $5 million off the books and get to control Precious Achiuwa, who could fit very well next to LaMelo Ball, and Brandon Miller, so they'd probably say yes to that. Now there you go. You got $1 million freed up for the Knicks, who are hard capped at the second apron. They're not allowed into the second apron. It's illegal due to the Mikal Bridges trade. It made it impossible. It's why the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, the Knicks had to use so many loopholes. Now here's where we get a little more funky. Now, here's what happens. Yes, it says it's a three-team trade. Yes, the New York Knicks are not allowed to make a three-team trade to acquire Donte Divincenzo, but here's what the Knicks can do. It's still a three-team trade, but here's what they do. The New York Knicks hang out while the Memphis Grizzlies and Minnesota Timberwolves agree to a deal that sends Luke Kennard and a first-round pick via Phoenix, Washington, or Orlando, depending on conveying. This also involves the Knicks owning the Washington Wizards pick, but that pick's not going to convey, as the Wizards are 3-21 to make sure that pick doesn't convey, and also just so they could tank for Cooper Flagg. Now, mainly the Cooper Flagg thing, but also so they don't lose the pick, obviously. Now, after that trade gets done, and the Grizzlies give Luke Kennard and a first-round pick for Donte Divincenzo, the Grizzlies, who need a center, and also Luke Kennard costs less money than Divincenzo, so the Timberwolves, the second apron team, can do this trade because you can only take in less money than you give out once you're in the second apron. The Knicks have a little more financial cap flexibility to work with, and the Grizzlies are not that close to the second apron, so they'll be fine. Everything's okay with them. Now, the Knicks, who know the Grizzlies need a big man, mind you, the Knicks don't need a big man anymore because they have Nick Richards in this situation. They have a center. They also still have Jericho Sims, who might get traded as well, and then the Knicks can pick up another big man like Moses Brown. But the Knicks then trade Mitchell Robinson to the Memphis Grizzlies for Donte Divincenzo, and that trade protection is gone because Divincenzo got traded to a different team. So now the team Divincenzo could not be traded to right there is the Minnesota Timberwolves. But then, since he gets traded again, the team that Divincenzo can't get traded to is the Memphis Grizzlies, and the New York Knicks are free to trade for Donte Divincenzo. They swap Mitch for Divincenzo. The Grizzlies get that. Maybe they ask for a second-round pick or two from the Knicks. The Knicks obviously say yes to that because they don't need Mitchell Robinson anymore. They have Nick Richards. The Knicks, here's where things get real good. Donte Divincenzo wears a Knicks jersey again. The Knicks tried out a starting lineup of Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Karl Anthony Towns. Coming off the bench for the New York Knicks, you have a five-man rotation. You have Cameron Payne, Deuce McBride, Donte Divincenzo, Nick Richards. So I lied. It's not a five. It's still a four-man, nine-man rotation. Four-man off the bench, nine-man rotation. But you also have some bench depth with you still there with Jericho Sims because you only gave up one player. And so you're still good. You're still at the 14-man mark. You could still have Landry Shamet. You also made a little bit of money because Divincenzo cost $3 million less than Mitchell Robinson. Nick Richards costs $1 million less than Precious Achiuwa. The Knicks now have money to go out and sign a forward off the market who you could pay a little bit more money to, where you can go over the 10-year NBA veteran minimum and get a Marcus Morris. So then you have a Knicks lineup, starting five, same starting five we see and love today, with off the bench, Payne, Deuce, Devo, Marcus Morris, Nick Richards as your top five guys off the bench. Probably Morris after Richards, but you know what I mean. Still got bench depth in Jericho Sims or someone you trade him for. Maybe you trade him for a second-round pick. Have more money, sign Moses Brown, or sign a veteran center who gets bought out at the deadline. You have a veteran center there. And then you still have Pacome Dadier, Ariel Hukporti, and Tyler Kolek. This would be the biggest heist of all time. Tell me what you think. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Am I insane or am I an evil genius? Let me know down below. Later.